What's up, Nova Heads? It's Amber Nova.
This is Chris Lights Out Lytle.
Hi, this is Ray Boom Boom Mancini. Ice Boogie.
It's the real and raw August Artois.
This is Smiling Sam Alvey.
It's Archimedes.
I'm Jack Cartwheel, the real deal, the human highlight reel.
This is Steve Mowry.
I'm Victor Henry.
Boy, Bulletproof Troop.
Billy Clark.
It's ECW Original, The Enforcer, C.W. Anderson.
This is Honest John.
Hyper Street.
Luis Moreno. And
It's Mr. Classic.
Anthony Noy. I'm Jason Punet.
The young ghost.
It's old Hattie Price here.
When I say what's my name, it's a knife.
Richie Slade.
My name is Gino Rivera, the Frank Sinatra of the Spanish Mafia.
The incredible one, Anthony Idol.
This is Ken Shamrock.
The Golden Boy, Jordan Clearwater.
Yo, watch and listen.
Championship online.
This is Alex Mars here. Hi, Richard Modest.
So, please listen to it, otherwise be cursed. Okay, see you later, love that dinners.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. You are now watching and listening to Championship on the Line podcast. As usual, Joe with my co-host Rich. And I'm Alex, and today we have a very, very special episode. We have a very special guest here. She's a professional wrestler out of California, and she is La Chaparita Gem Gemini.
Yep, that's me. Hi, guys.
Again, we're so happy that you're here and taking the time to do this. We're excited to have you. So thank you very much for being on.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. I'm glad my short self at least caught your eye for a split second.
Also, for the viewers, she may not be the biggest, but she's definitely the baddest wrestler on the pan.
Yep, I may not be the biggest, but I am the baddest.
No, it for sure did. Alex and I, we're always looking for, new wrestlers to interview. And one of the things that caught us, we're looking through Instagram and we saw a Ida F flyer and their tag was La Chaparita. Right away, that caught our attention. Like, oh, that's cool. That's different. And then that's how we found you. And, we saw some of your footage and everything. And we had to get you on the show right away.
No, I'm glad. Thank you. That's so sweet. Yeah, I'm trying to adopt, being comfortable with my height and all. I am 4'8". I am not gonna grow another inch, but you know what? It just gives me the upper hand in other things. So.
Oh yeah, and then before we start, we'd like to do a quick segment where we ask 10 fun questions about you to get to know you a little better. Is that cool we do with you?
Yeah, of course.
Awesome. Take it away, Rich.
Awesome. Right away, we'll start. What is your favorite movie of all time?
Oh my gosh. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is one of my favorite all-time movies. Or Captain Fantastic. It's one of my favorites. Those are both, I know they're two different spectrums, but
yeah.
Go to.
Some nice picks. Favorite TV show of all time?
Okay, that's going to be Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. It's a wacky show on Netflix that I've watched way too many times.
Nice. Favorite video game of all time?
I want to say Fallout New Vegas. I keep replaying that one. It's a good game. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I want to know your guys' answers to all these too. What?
Oh damn! We never think about that.
I know.
Yeah, no one really asks us.
You're putting us in a spot. Yeah, never. Yeah. I don't know.
On the other end of it.
Yeah, we're always like put a lot of thought process on like creating these questions, but we never like ask ourselves. So.
Okay. Just your favorite video game.
Oh jeez, what do you think, Alex? I don't know. I think I probably just picked like a generic, like probably I don't know.
Like a GTA, probably.
GTA, okay.
Yeah,
like
probably the same.
It's
here.
fun, yeah.
Like any GTA or any of like the UFC games, like I'm a big fan of that too.
I love that. I'm so bad at those type of games.
We're really into those EA Sport games. So like
nice.
The 2K, yeah.
I only really play Madden, but I'm bad at anything else. I'm known for loving games, but being really bad at them. And no one said you had to be good at video games.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially us, like we started very late with video games.
Yeah.
So like for us, we're still like learning. So when we play with our friends, they're like, oh, like, don't you know how to play? Maybe you play video games? Like, no, not really. So it's
yeah. Yeah, we're like we just got like even when the PS4 we got it and we hardly even play it. And my friend's like, you don't play it? Like you got it when it came out? Like, oh, like I buy it. My intentions of like going full on is just doesn't happen.
Yeah, you haven't gone full
Yeah.
gamer, man. Yeah, you
Yeah.
just
Let's see. We'll go back. Favorite sports team?
any sport?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it could be anyone.
Okay. I was raised as a Patriots fan, so I'm still a Patriots fan. I'm by default a Dodgers fan, and
Nice.
and I am a Ducks fan.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, or Ontario Reigns for hockey.
Oh, yeah.
Sick.
We've been to a few rain games. They're always fun.
Yeah.
They're so much fun. I just got into hockey because I could go to the games. I was like, I've been missing out.
Especially the area because Alex and I talk. We live pretty close by the arena, so it's like Fury, their basketball team, their soccer team. Like,
Yeah.
we try to go to all of them. It's just, especially their rain team is awesome.
Yeah, they're just so hyped. It's everything. It's the energy. That's what gets me.
Yeah.
There's always a big crowd too, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Especially for like a minor league, like it's always a big turnout. So
Yeah.
which is pretty
See,
cool.
I've never been to a baseball game or a basketball game or anything like that, but I have been to a hockey game, and that is so much fun. So.
Oh yeah. Especially sometimes when they fight too, which is always cool to see.
Oh,
Yeah, the people get into it. Next, favorite? What is your favorite meal?
My favorite food meal of all time is fast food, Chinese food. Like the less stars, the better. I know it's a weird answer, but I just love it. I love it. Just get me some good takeout. Yeah.
Nice.
Do you have a favorite season where there's like winter, spring, summer?
I think probably winter because I like being warm, but not like sun warm. Like I like bundling up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
No,
when
for
I
sure.
lived in Colorado, the snow was beautiful and like
Yeah.
everything. I just love it. It's just nice. It's cozy. Who doesn't like
Yeah.
Yeah,
cozy?
exactly. It's easy just to put on a hoodie or get a blanket and you're set.
Exactly. You know,
Yeah.
when you're out in California in 101-degree weather every day, it gets kind of tiring. Just a little,
Yeah.
just a little bit. Yeah.
Exactly. Outside of wrestling, do you have a hobby you like to do?
Well, I built this computer right next to me. I don't know if it's in
Oh.
frame. I had built one before with help, and then in the pandemic, I built this one by myself. So I was trying to get into that little by little. I also love music, love to dance, whatever type of music, as long as I can get in there. It can be like anything from Spanish music, cumbias, to heavy metal, and I'll get in the pit, like anything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I have a lot of wacky hobbies that I like to do, and I've grown up trying everything at least once. So I try to live by that.
That's awesome. Favorite music artist or band?
Oh gosh. Geez. My music taste is everywhere. But according to my Spotify wrap up, aside from I'm totally be outed as a nerd, but aside from listening to musicals, I also listen to, I guess, Dirty Heads and Snow the Product were like my top two, which is a band and a artist. So
Okay.
it's very
Nice.
different.
Another. Do you have a ritual before you enter the ring?
Oh, so now that I am facing very dangerous situations every day, right before I go on into the ring, or even come out, I make sure to, I don't know how to say this in English, but I clean out myself, and then I tell the universe, like, I put out and what I want to put out, and I put it out into the universe, and then I also do my jumps, because if I don't, I just like jump in place, and if I don't, I'll like pull something. I don't even have to stretch, but I better jump. So those are my rituals right before going out and being Gem.
Oh, nice.
If you can have a match with someone that isn't a wrestler, it could be an athlete, a cartoon character, a fictional character, movie actor, anybody. Who would it be
Oh
with?
my gosh, this is such a good question. any person ever. This is probably a weird, just because it's in the back of my mind. Abraham Lincoln used to wrestle, like pro wrestle. That would be so fun.
That's awesome.
Just wrestle. Yeah. Other than that, I don't know. I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right when you said, I was thinking I was gonna say presidents, but I'm like,
Yeah, the president. Yeah. Just take that top hat off. What are you?
Yeah.
Gonna promo on Abe Lincoln right now.
And how would you see that match going if it happened?
See, I'm well aware that he was a tall gentleman.
Yeah.
So I don't think it would go very easy for me. But you know what? Maybe he'll have some PTSD from the theater, so we'll have that match there. I'll use that in my upper hand, do a suicide dive off of the booth.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
You already play mind games with them. Nice.
I know.
Awesome. But again, thank you so much for taking the time to do this podcast. We're really excited to have you on. And real quick, before we start, I noticed you have some Funko Pops right behind you.
Yeah.
What are the Funko Pops?
Oh, yes. Okay. I have Spider-Gwen, a couple Funko Pops from Rocky Horror Picture Show, Columbia and Riff Raff. I have a New Day triplet Pops. And then I have Harley Quinn right next to, of course, my Captain Toad that has adventured a bit too close to the sun and lost his leg. And my Bennett and my Dragon Ball.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I got a lot of cute little.
No, I mean, I could explain even with the stuff right behind me.
All of that. Yeah. I think my favorite thing behind me might be my Kirby Super Saiyans. It might be just a couple of Kirby Super Saiyans fighting.
Oh, okay.
I was gifted that, and I love it.
That's awesome. But first, tell us, the beginning of, what got you into wrestling, who first introduced it to you?
Okay, I never, as a kid, I didn't really fathom being a pro wrestler. I grew up around wrestling. My favorite wrestler was always Shawn Michaels, and I would pretend to be him. And my family growing up, we had a party supply renting business. So whenever we would have to clean those jumpers from the inside, those fancy castles, we would have me and my siblings would have full matches in there, complete with entrance music busting out of an iPod and everything, So I always loved wrestling and grew up around wrestling, but I didn't really I didn't really feel like I could do it until I was maybe 18, 19. I was gifted the book Crazy is My Superpower, written by AJ Lee. And she had just recently stopped being a wrestler, but that book was just really, it's a really good read. And in the back of that book, I even wrote, I can combine a couple of my passions, which were theater and theater arts and wrestling, because I did a lot of combat sports, and I did do amateur wrestling and jiu-jitsu and a whole bunch of things. So it kind of just put my two worlds together and clashed them. And I did it for my birthday. My brother paid for training at Jesse Hernandez School of Hard Knocks, and then
nice.
Rest is history.
That's awesome. And then what was take me back, what was the first day of going to School of Hard Knocks? But what was the whole experience like for you?
It was so terrifying. I was very, very nervous. Just to give a little bit about setting the scene, I after high school, I was set to go to this 4-year college, go study theater in New York, and I was super excited. But unfortunately, my family had to break it to me once I got in, like, hey, we don't have money. And it's unfortunate, but that's just the way I was raised. I didn't have much money growing up. And I went to a community college, which isn't bad at all. But for me at the time, being told like, you're never going to make it anywhere if you don't go to 4 year, it was a lot for someone who had just graduated high school to go through that. So first semester college, good, dean's list, awesome. But I was so confused on where I was going to go in my life. I did not know what path I was going to take or what I was going to do, because I found that doing theater and going to Los Angeles and being in movies or background was not something I was particularly happy doing. And I had to find what I was going to do. I started working. I dropped out for that year. Started working, just working to find what I would rather be doing. And this very busy little known chain restaurant, In-N-Out Burger, was taking up a lot of my time. So as I was there, whatever, cutting potatoes, I would always think like, what would I rather be doing? And so after reading that book and realizing like, hey, you know, I've been wrestling, I've been training, I've been doing combat sports basically my whole life. I love what is putting on a show and entertaining people. And I knew even when I wanted to even when I wanted to go to school to study acting or theater, my only goal in life was to take people out of their reality and distract them. Distract them for a second, for a microsecond, just take them out of their place. And I thought that was like the biggest thing I could do for the world as little of a person I am. And there's a million people, there's so many people on this planet, and the one little thing I could do is distract somebody with entertainment. And I found that concept to be super beautiful, and I still live by that. So when I found wrestling, that helped me as a kid just like escape reality, just pretend I'm some character that I'm not as a kid. And finally realizing like, hey, I could do this for somebody else, you know? As a kid, what even got me into theater was getting to see this play being put on by my local high school, and being in such a bad situation financially, and like in these lower income communities, you got a lot of kids who really need that, who need a distraction, who need to just live their childhood lives. And it's really hard. So I would love to continue doing this and bringing people out of the reality, having people have some fun. I try to make it a point to high five every single person, whether they're an adult or a baby. I don't care, because everybody there at least matters. Even for the hour and a half, you are watching this show, you are sitting here, and you are having the time of your life, and that's beautiful to me. So that was so it was in a weird place when I first started, but in that college time, I went to my first day, and I was really nervous, really shy. I made a wonderful friend there the first day, who did help me and still helps me every day with my wrestling career and whatnot. But some days it was hard to just get out of my car and train, you know? Wrestling by no means is easy. You know, even if I did have that combat sports background, it was hard. And I thank my trainers and Jesse and my coach for having the patience that they did, because I could not bump. I could not bump, I could not talk, and I was trying to go. Some days I feel so overwhelmed, I wanted to like just run out of there. But I learned, and they showed me everything they could, and I'm very grateful. But it was really hard starting out. Really nervous.
And I was gonna ask you that too, like if it was an easy transition, because you were saying that you were doing acting and also you were into combat sports.
Yeah.
So I was gonna ask you, like, was it easy transition going and taking bumps and doing the wrestling?
Yeah, yes and no. There were a couple of things that were easier for me, like chaining and just taking everything that I already knew and putting it into the canvas, basically. But there was things that I had to relearn. You train yourself in combat sports to not get taken down.
Mm-hmm.
And now I have to willingly throw myself back and safely. So learning that was a little scary for me. Eventually rewiring my brain to not grip with all my might, or these little things that you have to change in order to keep wrestling and have all these matches and not hurt yourself really badly in a single match was really hard for me. Definitely the acting helped when I started performing, which wasn't until January. So I am going to be going up on a year soon of training and wrestling. So that's going to be amazing. And it's just finally when I got put in front of a crowd, those instincts kicked in and I got to interact with the crowd, and I could be somebody who was greater than myself, like greater than just Val. It was Gemini. It was La Chaparita. It was what these kids are like, oh my God, she's not dying. She's getting back up. It was a really good experience. And I'm happy I had the background to guide me and make the transition a little bit easier.
Mm-hmm. And also, like, take me back, like, what was it like? Like, what did the training at Jesse's, like, what did it consist of? Like, what did you guys do? Like, drills and stuff? Like, what did it consist?
Yeah, so when I first started, I would just be put to run the ropes. And this was before I found a better way for myself to run the ropes. I ended up having to adjust it because I am so small. I now hit the second rope instead of the top rope. So if you ever see me run the ropes, some people laugh, some people think it's really cool, but it's just some adjustments I had to make. And they were just like making sure you had the basics down before you could, put on a match. And after practices, we would put on practice matches and see like, hey, where are you in your training? I think a lot of it had to do with when I first started at Jesse's, I was learning how to roll bump, and it was just getting that confidence in myself, not even inside the ring, but in myself, and that I can do everything in there. I had to get surgery, and then coming back, the pandemic hit. So unfortunately, I didn't have that much time, and I was like, geez, okay. Work offered me a job in Colorado, and I was like, why not? Let's go. There's a good wrestling school there. Why not? And Jesse's, because California had such strict mandates, Jesse's was unfortunately shut down for the time. So Colorado was a little bit more open. So I go, I get a raise, I get a place, I move out of my parents, and I start at Al Snow's Wrestling Academy in Rocky Mountain Pro Wrestling in Colorado. I feel like because I was alone and away from my family, it forced me to have that confidence. They taught a lot of like working the camera and how to have a match when there is these rovers in hard cam, which I'm super grateful for. And I got to train a little bit there, build my own confidence. And they were a lot more American style wrestling, which was what I think I knew a little bit more. I got to use my combat background a little bit more and just train on that and just use ring psychology. So coming back to Jesse's School of Hard Knocks, I got to really be the hybrid wrestler that I wanted to be. And I love that term so much. I heard it, I'm sure it's used a lot, but as a new wrestler, I just recently heard it as I was wrestling in Mexico for the first time. the promoter comes up to me and he's like, hey, yeah, you wrestle, hybrid wrestler. I love it, this and that. And I was like, I'm sorry, hybrid? He's like, yeah, you're not quite lucha. You're not quite American. You're a hybrid wrestler. Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. That's crazy. But I'm super grateful for the trainers that I've had. The School of Hard Knocks definitely has helped me hone my skills, and I'm able to do more now that I have that confidence in the ring and keep moving forward.
Was there like any like specific like advice that they given you that you still keep to this day about the business?
Oh, about the business? So, and this wasn't necessarily someone who continuously trained me. I recently went on a tour called Mania Tour, and it's a minis tour. I got the opportunity to travel with Octagoncito, which is a very, very well-known Lucha Libre legend. And he really helped me understand Lucha Libre culture and what it's going to be like when I grow as a wrestler and start wrestling these women from Mexico. And he said, people will always talk. Of course, this is all in Spanish, so I'm gonna try my best. He said, people will always talk, and people, men and women, are always gonna be jealous. But as long as you stay true to yourself, true to your craft, you will continue to have the angel that you do have. And I was very grateful for hearing that, because he was kind of reassuring me that I could make mistakes and I could continue doing and training in the craft that I am now and not panic, not one bad match isn't going to be the end of my career. As long as I keep growing and being true to myself and being honest, even in this business, encountering women and men or whomever who are trying to give you bad advice, I guess, it'll hinder them, because you are your own person. You are honest. You are true. So I appreciate Octagoncito for that.
And also talking about, you said you were also wrestling in Mexico. Compared to Mexico and US, was there any like differences, like crowd and everything wise? Like, what was that experience?
Definitely. So I have wrestled a couple lucha shows, and they are pro wrestling. If you say someone, okay, I had to learn this earlier. If you tell somebody here in the United States, like, yeah, I'm a pro wrestler, they're like, oh my God, that's cool. But if you tell somebody in Mexico, like, I'm a pro wrestler, I do lucha libre, it's more honorable. They're like, oh my gosh, that is amazing. You're doing lucha libre. It's much more than just a hobby or something. It's something that people actually believe is a legitimate career, and it is in Mexico. It's taken more seriously. So because of that, everything else, the locker room, it's a lot more serious. You got to make sure you shake everybody's hand, and you have to make sure you do a couple of these things, because it's a different, it's not quite the opposite, but it's a different culture.
It almost kind of reminds me too, even like in Japan too, how like they look at wrestlers like they're modern, like warriors, and like how they appreciate it. It's almost like the same thing in Mexico too, which is pretty cool and awesome. Because you don't really get the same respect like they do here in the United States, but it's much different. It's like, oh, okay, cool. But over there, it's like, oh, wow, like, it's more bigger for them.
Yeah, you're simply, here they respect you, but you're just an entertainer. And there's nothing wrong with that. However, in other places, it's, no, you're not just an entertainer. You're a professional wrestler. Like, it's much more, And I would love to go and train in Japan. I love that style of wrestling, especially the way they treat their women. So I'm sure one day I'll be over there in training.
New Japan, in Stardom. And he was coming here. I mean,
Stardom.
you're watching.
Yeah. I'm only starting, so it's only up from here.
But real quick, I wanted to go back real quick. So take me back, like when you had your first match ever. Like who did you face? Like what was that whole experience like for you to come out of the curtain for the first time? Like what was that whole experience like for you?
So my first match ever was in during the pandemic. So I didn't have a crowd. It was live streamed on Twitch under Rocky Mountain Professional Wrestling. And it was against Lola the Adventurer. Or at the time, I believe it was Ola Lola, but it's Lola the Adventurer. And everybody loves her because she tries to embody Dora the Explorer. And she helped me in my first match. And I remember coming out to no crowd, but just some random music that I didn't choose, and just feeling the adrenaline. I feel like I had 2 debuts, one with a crowd and one on Twitch. But I was really excited, and she took very good care of me. We were, of course, both faces. And at one point I remember like forgetting entirely what to do. And I instead of blanking, she looked at me, I looked at her, and I just shot on her and took her down. And then I was like, okay, what do we do? I'm kind of panicking. It was very early. I had only been like continuously training for a couple months, and when I debuted, and I was like, I'm not ready for this. I need to train a little bit more. And they're like, no, you'll be fine. Just rely on your amateur wrestling if you get lost. And I was like, okay, perfect. And I hold that first experience near and dear to my heart. It was a lot of fun. And then the second time I got to do it with a crowd, it was a lot of fun.
If I were to ask you, which one was more nerve-wracking for you, your first wrestling match or your first amateur wrestling match?
Oh gosh, my first amateur wrestling match, I was also thrown in. You're just like getting my memories out. I had only been training for a week and a half, and I was training at a fighting gym in San Bernardino called Adrenaline. And my coach, who is amazing, and I still talk to him every now and then, he was like, hey, there's a tournament going on, an AAU tournament. You should go. And I was like, I don't know what that is. Sure. A week and a half training, I get thrown in. The weight classes are not very strict, so I go up against a boy that is a lot stronger than me. Of course, I was underweight at the time, so I just got pulverized. And my family was there to see it. So at least, here I felt like I had a little bit of control in professional wrestling. But I still think it was a little bit more nerve-wracking because not only did I have people watching me live online on Twitch, I had all my new friends there, and I had my mom watching as well, and I was like, oh, I'm so nervous. It was a good nervous though. It means you care.
It's almost like because Rich and I we used to also wrestle in high school.
Oh,
so
nice.
I get it. Like you're doing training, and then like, oh, you're gonna wrestle tomorrow. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Like, I haven't even been trained. Oh.
Yeah. See, when I ended up fighting in high school, they would make us. They didn't have a set varsity or JV. You would wrestle for your spot, and I don't know if this is everywhere.
Yeah, wrestle off.
Yeah. So we didn't have that many women, so I was used to trying to wrestle for my spot for just anybody. I remember the first time I won at a home game. I I was so excited that when they raised my hand for like that half second, I stayed there and they were like, "Can you go? We have another match. Come on." I was so excited. Eventually, you know, I learned how to defend myself. I got to make it a state. Didn't place at state, but you know, CIF was good. What about you guys? How was your guys' wrestling experience at amateur?
So I only wrestled like about a year, and he wrestled 4 years.
Oh,
so he's
nice.
the one that wrestled longer. I didn't really like it as much, but because I was actually an amateur boxer. I did boxing before. I competed that. I did that before wrestling, and I actually like punching instead of wrestling.
Yeah.
And he liked it way more. So yeah, he's the one. But it was cool. But Richard liked it way more than I did.
Yeah, I just like, I wasn't like, now, like, I'll just be honest, like I wasn't the best at it the first year. Like I struggled a lot because I didn't realize how like much technique that was involved.
Yeah.
So then the second, it's just a lot, and like how you said when you took that double leg in your match, it's like a lot of instinct. So I wasn't. I feel like I was never like clear-minded, where like just act your emotions and think of it like the next step. So I'm like, I struggled the first year, and then finally the second year I loved it more because I'm like, I can't leave without winning at least one match.
Yeah.
Like, I can't do that. So like you were saying, when I got my first win, I didn't even believe it because it went so fast, like the 6 minutes. So I was like, well, that's it. Yeah, you won 8-4, some score like that. I'm like, no way. Like, there's no way. Like, I lost like 6 matches in a row last year, and now I'm here. And then I'm like, I like this now. So I was the same way as you. I was just kind of confused. Like, I can't believe it went that fast. I felt like it went on for like 2 minutes, but I just once
so
it did it.
Yeah, it goes by really fast when you're enjoying
It really
it.
does. Yeah.
You go outside, you're just like dude, like what just happened?
I remember those trainings were so much fun, but so brutal. I remember my freshman year. I was in volleyball my freshman year, but I did summer school PE to try to get out of the way or for whatever reason. And the wrestling coach, I finished my mile faster than the boys at the time because toxic athlete, I guess. I don't know. And the coach comes up to me and he's like, "Hey, you ever think about doing wrestling?" And I was like, "No." He's like, "Do you know what wrestling is?" I'm like, I know what pro wrestling is. And he's like, "Well, not that, but you should definitely just try it out." So I didn't try it out right away. The end of my sophomore year, in between my junior year, I started wrestling amateur at that wrestling gym. And then when season started, I started in high school, and it was just, I think I enjoyed it because Richard said, like, it's a lot of technique. Like it's not just, you know, being strong. It's, you know, it's not just speed, it's technique, it's strength, it's everything together. I don't know, it was a lot of fun just rolling.
Oh yeah, and it's like recently too, like we got into like jiu-jitsu, and like we both fell in love with that. Like that's, you know, to me, especially
Do you guys go to a fighting gym?
Well,
or
we
is
used
it like
to.
12th Planet?
Oh no, 10th Planet,
10th Planet, yeah.
No, we went to like a local gym like by our house, but then like with COVID and everything, like it shut down. So we were pretty much, you know, training on our own. But yeah, and then the tournament's canceled too, so hopefully everything will start picking back up. But yeah,
that's
like
exciting,
I fell in love with that more with wrestling.
Yeah, sometimes I'm like, I could just get a fighting gym membership instead and just do this for, you know, for workouts when I'm not wrestling. But I haven't decided.
But also, I remember you mentioned also you're saying that your family has seen you wrestle, and what was their first reaction when you told them that you were actually going to get into business and become a professional wrestler? Like, what was their reaction like?
Well, my brother was the one who paid for everything, so he was very like, yeah, you can do this, you'll be fine. My mom is very scared to watch me wrestle.
Yeah.
She was very off put by the fact that I was going to be thrown around and punched. So when she would come I'm not sure what her first live match was. But yeah, okay. So the first live match, she came to see me. She was so nervous, so scared. And she was just like holding on to my stepdad, like trying to watch the match, but also not trying to yell. And it was really adorable that she like gets into it. But the very first match she saw was that Twitch stream, my very first match. And I have a recording of that my stepdad recorded of her, and she's yelling at the TV. She's like, she's screaming, she's hyped, and it's I love the support. She was always insistent that I could do whatever I wanted with my life as long as I go all in. I don't need a safety net if I'm all in, and she was very supportive with whatever it was. She was supportive with acting, with theater, with whenever I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. She's very supportive, and she always said, she would always say this in Spanish, but she said, it doesn't matter what you're gonna be, as long as you try to be the best that you can be. And I appreciate you for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can relate to that because like our parents did not like when we competed, or we went to go to tournaments and stuff. Like, yeah, my mom would actually watch him wrestle, and while he was getting ready to go on the mat, she already left already. She would leave the gym
Like,
and she would walk out.
Yeah. My mom never watched me amateur wrestle. She never went to go watch me amateur wrestle, not because she didn't want to, but because she really could not watch me lose.
It's the nerves, I think. Just as a mom, it's I can see it could be nerve-wracking. So like Alex and I was talking, just put ourselves in her shoes. Like if we were a parent, it might be a little nerve-wracking, and then we're kind of competitive too, so we get it. So like, okay.
Because I don't think you would ever want to see your kid get hurt. So like, I think that's But so we could definitely relate to that.
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, I think she was a little traumatized because my brother was in amateur wrestling in high school, and his senior year, I believe, or junior year, he had a really tough match where he was a heavyweight, so he got taken down in a way where his weight and the other person's weight landed on the side of his knee, so it like completely dislocated. And he got like rushed to the hospital, whatever, popped it back into place, kind of thing. So she was already on edge after that. After having to experience one kid in wrestling,
And it's crazy. And like talking about, I know earlier you mentioned that you did join the Micromania tour. So first, like, how did that come about? You joined the tour, and like, what was that experience like for you?
Yeah, so their full name is the Micromania Midget Tour, and I wasn't asked initially to be on the tour. Just when I was in Colorado, they were performing at a nearby festival or music festival, and they needed a women's match, so I was asked to go, as well as Reagan Grimes was asked to go, and we put on a match for them. It was they have like a hardcore, all of their matches are hardcore, so like no rules, and it was really, really fun. Lots of trash cans being thrown, lots of wet floor sides. It was just a lot of fun. And so after meeting me, he's like, "Hey, how tall are you?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm 4'8", and he's like, you're like legally you can be considered a little person. I'm like, I'm a little person, but I'm not a little person. I'm a little person, not a little person. And he was like, no, yeah, well, just think about it. If you want to come on tour, we're gonna have these dates. I'll contact you. And he contacted me, told me like, we're going to have a bunch of California days now that you're going back. Would you like to try it out for a couple of weeks? I'm like, yeah, sure, of course. So I go on this tour and I meet these legends. I make these great friends. Octagoncito, of course, Suki Mini, Dylan Michaels, who is the son of Lord Littlebrook, and it's just crazy. These super talented people, and they took really good care of me. So I was really glad that I did end up doing it, and I didn't feel too out of place. But I will say I was the tallest of the smallest.
Do you have like a specific like favorite moment from that tour?
Oh, I will be going back on that tour because it was so much fun. But I think my favorite moment might have to be we performed in Santa Cruz at the Catalyst, which is like a super crazy venue where a bunch of bands that I love have played or started at. And I was like, I'm performing at the Catalyst? That's crazy. So it was really, really packed, and I ended up seeing one of my old roommates there. But getting to go through the crowd and meeting all these people, it was a good moment for us. Another moment was we had a casino show in Northern California and Lakeport, I believe. Afterwards, we go, and I'm like, "Hey, we're all of age. Let's have a drink together." And we do, and there's nobody really there at the casino bar. And there's music playing, and we just all danced. We just had a good time, and just enjoyed each other's company, and being able to do that and make these friends and build these memories was really special to me. So I'm really glad I could make those friends.
That's so cool. That's so awesome. And especially like when you look back in your career, like what is your favorite match so far from your career, or even like a favorite wrestler you like to work with?
I like very, very much enjoy working with Everly Rivera. She is a Southern California wrestler, and she and I just have really good, like, I feel like we understand each other in the ring, and I can't really find that easily, you know? Of course you can put on great matches with people, but just having that mutual, like, understanding, like, if I do this, I know you're not gonna die or get mad or hurt or whatever. Like, we kind of understand where we're at mentally. So it was really nice getting to wrestle her and meet her. In Colorado, I love getting to wrestle with Reagan Grimes, Lilith Grimm, just these amazing women. I believe one of my favorite matches might be when I wrestled Christy Von Eerie in Santa Maria. And that was so much fun. She was so respected by everybody, and of course by me, but getting out there and getting to put on this really killer show with someone who's an icon, I'm like, this is great. And this is the start of my career, so I'm ready. I have a question for you guys.
Okay.
Do you guys have anybody who it could be indie or not, who you believe would be a good match for me to take on?
Ooh.
Let's see.
Indie.
Or not. It could be a bigger wrestler or already signed.
Let's see.
Who do you got?
You're putting us in a spot here.
Yeah, you're putting us in a spot. So yeah.
Let's see. I know you were involved in this match already, but I know you're gonna have a singles match with her, which is Maserati.
Ah, yes, Maserati.
So, which I that's gonna be a great match. Which is this is the first time it's 1-on-1, right?
Yeah, first time it's 1-on-1. It's gonna be a lot of fun. She's also super amazing to work with. So it's gonna be interesting when I do a 1-on-1 match, and we'll see how that goes.
But now you think of like big names too, like even like maybe a match with maybe like Ruby Soho, or something like that. I think that would be that would be a great match. Something like that, or even like
I was thinking Delilah Doom.
oh yeah,
That's so sick. Yeah, I've seen a lot of her work.
Yeah, because also like we go a lot of shows, especially now, and we always see her, and it's always like a different match, and she could mix it with all the guys or women's match. Like she's just every time she always blow our minds with the things she does in the ring. So it's like I think it'd make a great match with you and her together.
Delilah Doom, awesome. I'm so excited.
Or even a match with like maybe like Ruby Reyes too. Like that'd be pretty cool. That'd be pretty cool.
These are all and you know what? I'm confident maybe one day in the future I'll hit him up, we'll put on another match.
But is there anyone that you specifically that want to work with wrestlers in the future? Anyone specifically?
I hold so much respect to Thunder Rosa.
That would be awesome.
So I would love to maybe even tag with her, bring that Latin fire in the ring. Or some lucha like Dulce Tormenta, Sweet Storm. She's super good in Texas out there and in Thunder Rosa's school. So yeah, we never know.
And Thunder Rosa has her own promotion, correct? I think.
Yeah, Mission Pro Wrestling in Texas. Yep.
Thunder Rosa, if you're watching this.
I know.
Okay. Come on.
I would love to go out there. I've never been to Texas.
But as of now too, like what are your goals like as of now? Like in the future, like what company would you like to sign with, or even like maybe even countries, like where would you like to even travel?
Yeah, I feel like right now, I'm not so much thinking about getting signed. I think for me and my my journey, I'm hoping in the near future to train in Mexico with my coach also coming with me, and getting to meet a couple of I've already met a couple of wrestlers from CMLL and AAA, and getting to work with them is amazing, and get trained by them can be even more amazing. I would also love after that to get to train in Japan. I really love that style of wrestling. I love the storytelling, and every time I watch a Japanese wrestler, I am blown away. So I would love to get to train there and grow as a wrestler. After that, maybe I'll start looking to get signed, or because I'm not even a year in, so I'm really excited to see what this career is gonna take me in what direction. So I'm really grateful.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I'm excited too, especially what you've been doing right now too in your first year. I can't wait for the future for you.
Thank you. Yeah.
And then also talking about like how much wrestling do you watch today? Like, you watch WWE Impact? Like, how much do you watch right now?
Yeah. Well, I'm barely. A couple months ago, I started watching any old wrestling that I could find. Like, the older, the better. And then really diving into the history of wrestling, because I was such a casual watcher of WWE on and off, but that depended on if we had cable or not. And growing up, I would catch bits and pieces of the storylines, but it was really just about like the matches. So now I just watch AEW. I'm not super caught up with WWE, but I do watch a couple of their matches. Like storyline wise, I'm not caught up, but I do watch their matches when they do come on, because the women wrestlers are crazy. They're really great. So I'm trying to learn wherever I can.
And especially right now, like I believe like right now, women's wrestling is on the top right now, I think it's ever been. Because especially like you're seeing like Impact are even doing pay-per-views with women only wrestling, especially with NWA too, which is awesome. Now like even the return of like WoW is coming back too.
Oh my gosh, that blew me away, because as I said, AJ Lee's book inspired me to start wrestling. So getting to see that she was on in WoW and writing for them and helping that whole company come along. It's so crazy to me. I may have marked out a little bit, but
But yeah, like especially right now, like with everything, like what are your thoughts right now on the women's product on every promotion that you see? Like, what is your opinion on the women's wrestling right now?
Women's wrestling, just like you put it, is at a height, and I'm so grateful that I get to witness that. Mostly because I get to see all these women, different styles of wrestling being put onto the canvas, and I'm glad, though it's very minuscule right now, I get to be a part of that. I got to witness the four horsewomen, the women's movement in WWE, and be alive for that. So I should be grateful enough for that. And that was before I decided to be a wrestler. Not only is it empowering women professional wrestling, I feel like the locker room, everything backstage is also changing for the better. Being a lot more comfortable with having these talks about women in the locker room and adjustments, and working with men and women together and whatnot. Just really changing the culture for the better, and I'm really grateful that I get to be a part of a time where changes. People are comfortable enough for a change, even in the locker room. So the women's movement in wrestling is absolutely beautiful to me. There's such good wrestling, and the culture is getting better.
And also, I also wanted to get your opinion on this, but when you saw like with Tessa Blanchard, like she was the first one to win the Impact World Championship, and now you're seeing like with Impact, it seems like they're the only promotion that's doing intergender wrestling. Like, what are your thoughts on intergender wrestling, and do you think it's good for it?
I definitely think intergender wrestling, I don't think it's bad. I have so much fun with intergender wrestling. I am not opposed to having matches like that, but also realistically, as small as I am, I have been thrown around in intergender matches, and that is so much fun. But I feel like it's you could put on better matches when you're matched with somebody of your own height and weight, and that could be fine with intergender matches, just as long as you're matched up best. You could watch me get squashed for like an hour if I go up against any El Gran Rudo, for example. I just got whipped around by him in my last EWF match, and that was a lot of fun. I'm not opposed to intergender matches. I don't think they're a bad thing. I think they could be really entertaining. I just think it has to be matched up really well, just like any other match. Women's matches too should be matched up pretty well.
Yeah, absolutely agree. And also I wanted to mention that too. You had your match at EWF, which was in your hometown of Redlands. It was you, Alan Breeze, and you guys went on against Juan Ramon and Black Metal, right?
Yep, and there was also Fletcher on my team, and Christina Hawk on their team. Christy Hawk, yeah. And it was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun. There was a lot of things I could do because it was intergender, and I could get I gave someone a head scissors while they were on their knees, and they did a face bump, and it was so cool because I was so small and I could make that happen. It was something new, something super cool. What did you guys think?
No, that was cool. Yeah, I liked it. I think it's because like Rich and I, we've been going to those shows since we were little kids. So I remember like going to like Covina at the Knights of Columbus Hall. Like Rich and I, like we saw like the Young Bucks, TJ Perkins, Rocky Romero, you know, this goes on, but yeah, like we've seen it all. So it's always cool to see, like, even now too, like we'll go to EW show and, you know, always tell Rich, like we're pretty much seeing the future here. We're seeing the future of Bright Stars, because everyone that comes to EW, you know, does really big things, you know, so it's always cool to watch.
Yeah, I'm super grateful to be a part of that too.
And also, real quick, I want to ask this last question. But if someone's watching this and wants to become a professional wrestler, what advice would you give to someone that wants to be in this business?
I would say jump in head first. I think if you're gonna do this, you have to be honest with yourself. If you have that much to give to this, then do it. Don't give yourself the excuses that you would for any other thing, because this business takes a lot out of you, especially when you're starting. Like I said, what we do is not easy by any means, and it could be a little stressful at times. So if you're gonna jump into wrestling, I say go for it, full on go for it, and be confident in yourself. So when you do go in there, you're confident, you're happy with your growth, because it takes people different amounts of time to succeed in, or to start wrestling, or to start performing and wrestling on a canvas. So I remember going to a seminar with D'Lo Brown, and him saying, what we do is art. That's why we wrestle on a canvas. So that's what you do.
Oh, that's awesome. Again, thank you so much for taking the time to do this podcast with us. We really, really appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys. It's a great conversation, and I'm sorry to put you guys on the spot too.
No, we love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, real quick, before we wrap up, is there anything you want to plug in? Anything you have upcoming social media?
Yeah, well, I'm gonna start Twitch streaming soon, so that should be a lot of fun. You can watch me be bad at games. That'll be at Gem Gemini CX, and of course you can follow me on Instagram, gemgemini.cx, and Facebook. Of course, I am Gem Gemini on there as well. So there's a lot of great things coming. You can check my social medias for my flyers. I'll be in a couple of cities and states around the US, so that's going to be a lot of fun, and I hope to see you and your viewers at one of my next shows. So thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate everything.
No, awesome pleasure having you. Again, thank you so much. And also, we'll put the description of all the social media in the link below. And also, please do yourself a favor and please support her. Okay, she is a rising star. She's climbing to the top, so please support her. And again, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks again.
And that's going to do it us here from Championship Online Podcast. And we'll see you guys next time.